Hey YouTube, Mochismo Eugene again. I just want to make a video for a moment here regarding something that, again, I don't believe is talked about a lot on YouTube platforms and whatnot. And it's something that oftentimes get overlooked. And that something I'm talking about within the narcissistic spectrum is called borderline personality disorder. Uh, in short, we're dealing with something that we believe is simply narcissists that are often not narcissists but borderline. And how this looks again is someone who's easily agitated. They are very defiant and hell bent on trying to expose what they want you to perceive are narcissists here, there, and everywhere. It's almost like they're trying to throw you off of the scent. If you even surmise that they may have strong narcissism in them, they do all they can do to educate you about the very thing that they despise, which is the narcissist. But get this part, they have oftentimes been abused, raised, and reared in a narcissistic or narcissist environment, be it the parents. And the whole overview of a borderline is they are individuals that have been raised by narcissists and recruited and groomed to be narcissists. But the thing about a borderline personality disordered individual, they have empathy. Their emotions are unlike a narcissist, which lack emotional constancy or emotional regulation. They can't regulate their emotions. But the borderline is groomed to become a narcissist, but the narcissist fails. It fails in this particular individual who goes on to become a borderline, because it's like they're in tug of war against the true self and the false self. Again, unlike the narcissist, they only have one self, which is the false self, the manipulative, the deceptive self, to where they've mastered this false self so well, so this is the only self that they have. Now, the only way that a narcissist can be or give you the illusion of having a true self is by mimicking what you give off. Unlike borderlines juggle both. They juggle the true self and the false self. Now, I've had the opportunity and the unfortunate privilege of getting involved with I keep saying covert because I hear this word all the time, the covert. I am married to a covert, yet to be divorced soon. But they're the most dangerous, so that's probably why we hear that word come up a lot. They're all dangerous and disturbed. But borderline personality disorder individuals, they know a lot about narcissism, obviously, because they've been around them. They'll tell you, I was raised by him, I was raised by, to which we all can attest to having some narcissists in our family. Now, we grow up, we get used and abused by them, both empaths and borderlines alike, codependents alike. All of these individuals in these categories get abused by narcissists in one way or another. The stark difference is that a borderline will go on to become an avenger of themselves. And in becoming an avenger of themselves and the abuse that they tolerated by way of the narcissist, they trample on even empaths, because their whole goal is to out and expose everything that remotely resembles narcissists. Even healthy behavior, which, believe it or not, the narcissists in our lives and the ones that exist, they mimic good behavior and all to deceive us into thinking that they're healthy like us. So at the end of the day, when they abuse us through their manipulation and fakery of what we thought was their genuineness, their authenticity that they mirrored from us, we are so confused to the point where, let me give you a great stark emphasis on what I'm trying to say. When I meet a girl, I I'll compliment the things in which I observe about her. She's beautiful. You have beautiful eyes, whatever, whatnot. Some would say he's a charmer. Some would say he's smooth. No one would rarely say, "Wow, he can see the authenticity," or he's speaking authentically about the things that are actual and factual. She does have pretty eyes. She is beautiful. He is handsome. Now, you get to a point where you've been abused by these fake people who came along, which are the narcissists, that actually hijack your good qualities to the point where you hold back on your compliments going forward in the next endeavor or relationship. Now, with me, I'll tell you how I've gone on to do in my life as a result of narcissistic abuse. I wasn't abused to a strong degree by the narcissist that I had the unfortunate pleasure of meeting. Anyone who knows my story, God protected me in such a way where they were in and out of my life in 7 months. And it is nothing short of a miracle that, from listening to stories in the last 3 years, I've heard no one with a story like mine. And before 2020, I never knew what this word was. I tell people back when I was younger, I think I used to hear the word "stop narking on me," "stop telling on me." It's what I used to think. Narc is a snitch. I didn't know what that was, so I actually probably have used that word in times past in my life, like snitch. But it is nothing of the sort. So this is what they do. They get your good behavior, your good qualities. They hijack it, sabotage them, and distort them for their own benefit to abuse you and use you, which is the narcissist I'm speaking of. So now you're hesitant going forth in a next relationship, even though you may be aware of narcissist. You say, well, okay, I'm going to take it slow. I'm not going to give it all away. I'm not going to let this person know that they have these qualities. I'm not gonna hit them with a 1-2 punch. I'm not gonna give it all away. I'll tell them they look nice. I won't tell them they have beautiful eyes. I won't tell them they are gorgeous. I don't have any plex about that because I'm going to show you. I believe in being truthful and authentic. It actually is like pouring water, or let me put that another way. It's like putting oil in water. The oil will float to the top every time. If you are the water, being your authenticity, if you're the pure water in your genuineness, if you get something that's tainted that comes your way by way of the narcissist, the oil, it will rise to the top. These people will expose themselves because they're very sensitive, the borderline, very sensitive, because they, like the narcissist, their egos is like an egg. They're very fragile people. But even more so, the reason why a lot of us won't be able to detect and determine whether we're dealing with someone that's just as dangerous and ruthless as the narcissist, be it the borderline, is because they know a whole bunch about narcissism. But you will determine this by some of their very intense, hell-bent agenda seeking quest to out narcissists. And they'll go as far as to tell you, I showed them, I told them that you're this, you're that. We know as empath, The first thing you don't do is try to out a narcissist. Because if I know what I think I know and I say I know about narcissists, and I know the propensity that these people have once they have been exposed, why in my right rational mind would I go down that foxhole or that rabbit hole of trying to expose them to themselves? I beg to differ. I think, excuse me, I just had something cover my video advertisement, but actually it was scripture, daily scripture. The thing you have to understand with that is they need to expose the narcissist to the narcissist if the person in question is a narcissist that they're exposing. No, on the contrary, they are running around mad and hostile about the fact that they are fractured individuals. They didn't just get traumatized, they got ripped apart mentally. They actually don't know where they're going or coming. They are wrestling with these two selves, the false and the true self. So they need to make peace with themselves, which they can't. And they have a vendetta against the narcissist who traumatized them. So everyone in their paths, even well-meaning, good, healthy people, get chewed up by these people. They can't be in a relationship. They sabotage the relationship before it even begins. That's the stark difference between a narcissist. A narcissist will groom you in and draw you in, and sometimes you'll spend, from what I hear from some of these survivors, years invested in these people. Now, with the borderline, likewise, you may have someone you've been invested with for 10, 15, 20 years, and they have had struggles. And in your mind's eye, they have struggled with depression, they have struggled with anxieties, they have struggled with bipolar. All of these subtitles and these excuses that these individuals, if they be borderline, which I'm inclined to believe a vast majority of them who hide behind anxieties, depression, and bipolar, are borderline. This is how they're able to stay in a relationship that is doomed to begin with, but the person that's being deceived has no clue, because they are actually endorsing these fake diagnoses they give the victims. Oh, she struggles from depression. Oh, he struggles from anxieties. Oh, he struggles from because his mom or his dad died or his brother died when he was 3. Blah 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 blah. These traumas we go through in life are real, but the difference in how some of us react to them differs tremendously in the grief process. The grief process, which should be real, it causes some of us to just have heavy hearts for the person we lost. But in an extreme case scenario, it makes a lot of us go into drug addictions, alcohol addictions, and into a deep depression. Now, even a healthy person would go into these phases of life. But the difference is these people won't go on to destroy and trample on other people's lives and emotions. But the borderline personality disorder individual does. They take their inward traumas and they want to pass them off on other people. And they actually want to exchange them. They want to give them to you in exchange for what? Aha. See, I can call them a mile away. I think it's just for the satisfaction that they think they're getting from seemingly exposing what they perceive as narcissists. That's all they know. Now, as the borderline, if you believe that you may be dealing with a borderline personality disorder person, you start talking to them about Like myself, I got therapy because it was recommended me by someone close to me, a good friend, and they said, you know, hey, if you've gone through this, and this was a good friend who, in fact, had been traumatized by a narcissist themselves. So this wasn't somebody just in the street. So I took heed to that, and after listening to content creators who have both themselves done this, I took heed, and that was the best thing that could have happened to me too. I got the therapy right away, and it was able to help me not hold a grudge. It was able to help me not harbor all these ill feelings for this person because I had the education of what these people are. It's nothing personal because they sabotaged your life. They've done it before. They've done it to people before you, and they're gonna do it to people after you. So don't put yourself on a pedestal because you got abused. You were just the next in line. And again, empaths don't look to try to garner credit for educating people about what they've experienced. We don't need to one up the narc. We don't need to out the narc. But in doing, but in doing what we do, that's essentially what we're doing. We're outing and exposing these people for what they are. But more than that, we're equipping people to see for yourself, not take my word for it, but we're throwing the information out in which we've experienced so you can be able to determine you for yourself and your livelihood and your sense of peace and sanity. Be able to observe, let your intuition be your guide in going forward. So you don't allow people to take more and more and more of your life and misuse it for sordid reasons because they don't want your life as much as they claim they do. They come in and they like your qualities, but they hate you because you have them. They want them, they want to attain them, but they know there's no way in hell that they could ever be like you or even be you. And this is what they're mad about, and this is what they're disturbed about. So they figure if I can't have these qualities, you won't either. And so, like the borderline, they, on the other hand, they don't want you to have the qualities either. But they are so hell bent on trying to expose the very thing that traumatized them till they can't see any other thing in the world but bad, which is a narcissist, all good, all bad. They have very, very, very similar parallels, but like I say, the emphasis on the borderline is they'll know a lot about narcissism, and they'll have you to the point where you will be like, wow, you would relish in everything that they have to say. They will have you so bamboozled. They're clever, but the only thing that they can't do is hold to their demeanor when it comes to, they blurt out arguments. They'll create an argument out of the air. This is what a borderline does. They will, if you resist and you don't want to agree to do something they want or they request, and you become adamant about it, very calm fashion, you could just say, I don't want to do that. If it's that thing that they're set on, if you continue to hold your ground on that, it can be the pettiest of things. You will see the fangs come out. And you're not dealing with a narcissist at this point when you do see this. You're not dealing with a person who has bipolar. You are very well dealing with a person who is borderline personality disorder. And there are other aspects of this called DID, D-I-D, dissociative identity disorder. This is when an individual has multiple people living inside of their body. And this is real. They can go from one persona to another at any given moment within themselves. And it's split personality on steroids. It's multiple personality. Sometimes they can have up to, 10, 15 separate individuals inside of them. Look it up. As I was entering into my narcissistic abuse recovery in the 2020 time period, I was looking at some sites and researching narcissists and what I've been through, but then too, it gets to be very, very overwhelming. And other things began to be connected to narcissists. And again, Sam Vaknin, who is a twice diagnosed narcissist professor, who's wrote many books, he's even coined these words that we often talk about, like, I don't know, he coined, I think, 5 or 6 of them, maybe 8 of them. Don't quote me, but Hoover, flying monkeys, gaslighting, just quite a few of these words that we use in the narcissistic arena. He penned these, he coined these words back in the 90s. I don't think a lot of us have researched him extensively enough, but do yourself a favor and listen to him. He has a lot to offer. I don't ever like his videos. I think I'm subscribed to him for reasons, obvious reasons. Obviously, I need to know what these monsters, really are up to, and what they, what their propensities are. But I don't like on his videos. I don't comment, to oh, you're doing a great work. That goes without saying. He's doing what he's doing, and I'm here to say this: once we embellish people who, in fact, are the problem, just like us survivors, don't embellish any of us. If you say nice video, whether it be Sam Vaknin or mine, we empath survivors, we really could care less over you getting the information and carrying on in your life, not to let this happen again. It's very noteworthy that you can appreciate what we do, but I don't believe true, authentic survivors are out here clout chasing. We're not looking for numbers. We're not looking for you to look up to us. We're not looking for you to feel sorry for us. Once you've seen a monster and you know what a monster looks like, you want to let everyone know, especially people that that have a decent life, that are doing good things in their life. My record, my past, my background, it's an open book. But the one thing about people who've been traumatized, that just can't get past being traumatized, they go along to get along in a very deceptive, subtle way. They lure you in so they can pounce on you. And it's a very savage, sadistic existence. So I wanted to let you guys know that borderline personality disorder is something you should attach to your portfolio of trying to recover from narcissistic abuse. That's all I need for you guys to know. Until the next video, bless.